Hello everyone, welcome to my review of the Toyota Tundra iForce Max Capstone. A lot to break down there, but before I start, I should say that I have already done an extensive review on the all-new generation of Toyota Tundra. Have a look at my 1794 edition review because I'm going to go a lot more through the engine capabilities, what the interior and the exterior is like, and just overall driving dynamics of this third generation Tundra. But here right now, the Capstone is what is the new equivalent to go up against the GMC Denalis, the Ford and the Ram Limited. This is Toyota's top spec luxury truck, and it really does feel up to snuff with those rivals. Here with the Capstone, there's a couple of exclusive details, which I'll talk about later, but the biggest talking point, and the reason I think you clicked on this video, is because of the iForce Max powertrain. This is the new hybrid system for Toyota's big vehicles. It shares the same 3.5-litre twin turbocharged V6, but now has an electric motor in between the engine and the 10-speed transmission, and a 1.5 kilowatt hour nickel metal hydride battery pack that sits underneath the rear seats. Talking about the powertrain first, here we have quite an astonishing amount of power. 437 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque. And because all of that torque is quite low in the rev range, the peak is 2400 RPM, in many ways it feels like a diesel when you drive this truck. You mash your foot and you don't get the thrills at the top, you just get that surge at the beginning of the rev range. So merging onto a highway, it almost feels too fast. You barely have enough time to enjoy expanding all the way up through the gears before you need to slow down and get back to highway speed. Now, if you're expecting the capability of some of the other smaller hybrid motors and hybrid powertrains that Toyota offers, and let's say the RAV4 or the Corolla, you won't get it here with the iForce Max. There's a couple of limitations, or what seem like limitations, compared to if you have previous experience to Toyota's other products. First of all, there is no EV mode, so to say, that eco, normal, and sport driving modes are really the only way that you can vary the driving feel of this Tundra. And in my experience, putting it in eco didn't actually resort to more use of the battery power. So because of that, you'll find that this iForce Max isn't regularly turning off the engine to focus on battery power. There's certainly some instances where it likes to prioritize EV driving, and that's, for example, in a parking lot or stop and go city traffic, and you'll always see this max dial expand with blue when it is using the electrical outputs. But if you're doing any sort of normal driving and you very gently put your foot on the throttle, you can basically maintain speed by just adding a little bit of that throttle input that's using the battery power to negate rolling resistance. You don't quite have the same ability to get off the line in EV power only without holding up traffic like you would in a RAV4. Regenerative brake feel is okay, definitely not as good as the smaller hybrids that Toyota offers. There's just a little more inconsistency here to what I am used to. Now, you do have to pay an upcharge for this hybrid powertrain, $3,500 depending on the trim, and it is reserved largely to the uppermost trims in the range of Tundra. I do hope that it will find itself in other lower trims in the future, and maybe at a smaller price increase, because given the fuel economy benefits, which truthfully I haven't seen in my week of driving, $3,500 seems a bit too much for me. Even as someone that loves hybrids, plug-in hybrids and EVs, and would go out and spend the extra money on a Camry hybrid or a RAV4 hybrid, this seems like a bit too much of upfront cost for me to recommend it. Simply on cost though and benefit, because the torque is fun, having silent driving is always a joy, but there are real downsides, like I already mentioned the price, but with the rear seats that you can't hide anything underneath anymore, like you could with the normal powertrain. That's a bit of a shame, but I do like how you can still fold the seat up so that if you ever were to load in large items here into the back of the Tundra, you don't have to worry about damaging the leather on those seats. You still have a nice shelf to load stuff onto. Another quick benefit to the electric motor is that because it's in between the engine and the transmission, it does regularly feel like it is smoothing out gear changes. Even when this engine is cold or transmission is cold, the shifts, in my experience, have been very smooth, which wasn't always the case in the normal motor that I tried out. Now, to talk about the exclusive details of the Capstone, you get these 22-inch rims, and you'll see there's these gray sections. They're made out of plastic. Toyota also installs these leather wrappings here on the grab handles, like what you see in the Ram Limiteds. Here, I think it's a little better executed as the material matches the headliner, but still a little chintzy in my mind. There's badging on the outside and also on the inside of the cabin, but you can only see it when you have the mood lighting engaged, and during the day you can barely see it at all. The black and white semi-aniline leather is really top-notch quality, the kind of thing you would see in a Lexus. We also get dual pane glass here on the front to reduce road noise. I thought the other Tundra was pretty quiet. This is even more so. And finally, you do have power running boards in this model, plus what Toyota calls the bed step. That automatically deploys every time you open up the tailgate. I like how it folds away very neatly, quickly, and efficiently, but it's only on the driver's side. I wish you could get that on both sides. Maybe there's a dealer install option for something like that. Honestly, not too sure. So there you go. Those are my quick thoughts on the iForce Max power plant and the Capstone trim of the Toyota Tundra. An impressive product, yes, but truthfully, for my money, I probably wouldn't be selecting this version of the Tundra. The additional price versus the improvement of fuel consumption, I don't quite think is enough. If Toyota can get it down to a price point like its other hybrids, where it's a $1,500 increase, I would be more happy to recommend that, I suppose. But for now, just know that if you are ending up with the new Tundra, it is a fantastic product no matter which way you go. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Please be sure to check out the lengthier full review of the 1794 edition of the Tundra, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.